race went off. And just like Steve told Wottle, he paced him through 3/4 of a mile in 2:56, Steve hugging the inside lane and Wottle coasting to the outside of Steve's right shoulder. Wottle had never gone faster than 3:01 for 3/4. Steve's legs felt heavy, and at this point, he wanted to explode. He had run 4 3-mile races in 13:20 or below in 10 days. The acceleration wasn't there. He had no snap. Wottle was told by his Bowling Green coach that his best races would come off a fast pace, and right there before him on a platter was about as fast as he'd ever experienced. Steve put the world record in Wottle's sights. All Wottle had to do was take it. Steve rushed by the east stands with 220 yards to go. Fans knew the book on Wottle, and right on cue, Wottle surged 10 yards clear of Steve. There would be no catching Wottle, but Steve chased after him not only to keep up with the clock, but to give his people in the rickety west stands reason to cheer. Maybe the roar would push Wottle past the point of reason, past Ryan. By the time Wottle struck the tape, the time was 3:53.3, the third fastest mile ever. Wottle winced at the finish. Steve finished a few yards behind Wottle and gave his people all that remained, what would be his career best mile, 3:54.6. A little girl screamed, "That's okay, Pre, don't worry about it." Years later, Wottle looked back at this race with a rare pang of regret. So much of his mindset was geared toward winning the race, not the clock. Time was secondary. He never wanted to sell out too soon. Instead of going for it and laying it all out on the track and say, hey, if I can run a 55-second last lap, I can get a world record, I was holding back because I was afraid of tightening up down the home stretch. Steve, being the strong runner he was, I thought he could beat me. I regret that, truthfully. I regret that he brought me through such a great race and a great time, and I didn't lay it all out there on the track. That's a weakness I had. Wottle also didn't want to like who he was running against. The better to flog them. He wanted to run angry. And after the race, with the fans still clapping and cheering, Wottle began his victory lap. Steve jogged up beside Wottle and grabbed his arm and raised them together above their heads. Wottle thought, what are you doing running with me? This is my victory lap. How stingy, Wottle remembered. How stingy of me. Steve was endorsing me to the fans at Hayward Field. He was also saying, you did that because of me. And he was absolutely right. Ernie Cunliffe, who was the coach for the Air Force working with Wottle, found Steve and told him, it was a best of life for 7 other guys in the race, and you made it possible. You set it up for them. Steve often made it possible for others to level up. His gift to them. The few who beat him also ran out of their shoes. Wottle bettered his best time by nearly 4 full seconds to win this night, the fastest mile ever run at Hayward Field, this in the Temple of Milers. Wottle recalled, if he had not brought me through in 2:56, there's no way I could have run that fast. It was a valuable lesson for me to learn back then. I did reflect on it afterwards, thinking, no one's on an island. You have a family, you have coaches, you have teammates, you have competitors. All that together is what makes runners achieve their goals. Steve helped me learn that lesson. I was always grateful for that. The restoration meet was a beautiful illustration of Steve's evolution as a person. He started to see his rivals as peers, even if it meant falling on his sword to lift others up, all to give back to his community. These people. Those stands. After the race, Steve was swarmed by children seeking autographs. He signed them attentively. One of Steve's older fans brandished a bottle of champagne in a paper bag. The fan offered Steve the bag, and Steve, appreciatively, took a swig.